Welcome. Thank you for joining in. I'm Prajna, and I want to welcome you to an exploration of ayahuasca and other sacred plants, the wisdom keepers of the earth. And this is the beginning of a series of different talks that I'm going to be offering. And from this, my hope is that you'll receive great benefit and learning what the advantages are of sacred plant medicine when they're taken responsibly. And I'm going to cover what that means, the different pitfalls that can happen, the challenges, and the initiations, the protections. What is the difference between a ceremony and a retreat and a dieta, and how to be able to tell the difference between a responsible shaman, one who is very clean and has an indigenous tradition behind him or her, and is in sacred reciprocity with the jungle, with the earth, and is really functioning for your benefit, not for some kind of egoic position or power, and all other kinds of things that can happen. So this program is meant to offer you safety and wisdom in your journey so that you'll come more into your true calling and receive the wisdom and the benefits that come from these great teachers. So the one that I'm going to focus on primarily today is ayahuasca. And ayahuasca I refer to as the dark mother of the jungle. And I'm going to get to why I refer to her in that way. This is how she has come to me. But first, to tell you a little bit about how I came to plant medicine, probably about 20 years ago. And I was first introduced by an American shaman in the underground. So that was a very different kind of experience, which I wouldn't have known there was something different had I not had the wonderful opportunity to travel to the jungle. So that happened about 20 years ago, and I participated in several ceremonies, but my children were still quite young. So it wasn't really time for me to follow the way in which I felt called by this teacher. So it was a few years later that I made my first journey to the jungle. And initially I began working with the Quechuas, which is often more dominated by male ayahuascaderos, although recently they have opened to training females. So my first dieta was in the Quechua tradition, and I learned a great deal from that experience. And later I trained with the Shipibos, which has many more females, very open to female leadership. And that offered a different flavor, a different environment, a different holding, and in fact, the way in which the ceremonies are held and facilitated is quite different. So the bulk of my training is from the Shipibos. And after about 100 ceremonies, I lost count as far as how often I met with ayahuasca. But I do remember that there was a time period where 4 years in a row consecutively, I went to Peru 6 times in a year. And that was because I had received an initiation in the Shipibo tradition, and I was practicing quite intensely and learning from my mentors, which were both male and female, and taking on various dietas. Then I began working as an assistant, and then I was blessed and asked to facilitate ceremonies on my own. So what they do in that tradition is they often pass you a blessed ikaro, many ikaros, they give you protections, and a sacred mapacho. And this is the passing on of the lineage. So I carry that. I do not pretend to be an indigenous person because I'm not, but I honor these traditions. And it's been 20 years since I began this work, And it's really taking me this long to come publicly to speak about it. And I know there are many people around who get very excited about ayahuasca and will go to Peru once or have a couple of ceremonies and then feel that they're an expert and that then it's time for them to pour medicine. And I think that this is unfortunate because it's really in developing a relationship with the plants over time, you learn from them. And it's very important to receive their teachings, receive their protections, and be in sacred reciprocity with their land, with their culture, so that we're not taking from them just for our own benefit, but whatever it is that we're taking, we're always giving back. So I'm very clear about that. And just recently I planted like about 7,000 trees in the jungle. And I won't take medicine from the jungle without ensuring that somehow the tradition in which I'm receiving it from is gaining benefit and that I'm giving back to the jungle, because the jungle is the lungs of the earth and we need her. And she is asking for us, our attention, our giving back, our giving up of consumerism, right more now than ever. So we're right here at a juncture where we're in this coronavirus pandemic, and everybody is being asked to stay home. And this is why I've come forward, not only because some friends have asked me to. They say, you have 20 years of experience. There's so much misinformation out there on the internet. Why don't you start sharing some of what you know? So here I am to do this, because now more than ever, people's insecurities, fears, uncertainties, doubts, everything is coming up to the surface. And when I first met with my more recent teacher, who is a tabacodero in Iquitos, and his name is Ernesto Garcia, I have been for the past 4 years now doing specific dietas with him to strengthen my capacity as a facilitator. And boy, has this really been informing me in ways that I could never have imagined. But early on in working with Ernesto, I asked him, I said, why is it that you don't work with ayahuasca? Because what he does is he takes you through a course of very strict diets for an extended period of time so that you can learn from them, receive the wisdom, and receive the protections. And this informs your work. This really is what carves you out as a curandera or a curandero. But when I asked him why he doesn't work with ayahuasca, what he told me is that most people are not ready for her. They're not ready. And it took me a long time to understand what he means by that. And that's what I want to share with you today in this video, because this is what where we're at right now, that we're in this psychedelic renaissance, so to speak. And there is more and more people emerging all the time, pouring medicine that really shouldn't, because many people that are coming to them are not properly prepared. So what he said, when people are not ready, is there is a preparation that needs to take place in order to receive the benefits. Because I call her the dark mother of the jungle, because she will bring you to face to face, straight on. You can't hide anything from her. She'll bring you face to face with all of your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, everything in your system, your mental, your emotional, your physical, your psychic bodies that doesn't serve your greater life purpose. So many people think of ayahuasca as a visionary experience, something that you come to have great visions. Well, that's true, visions happen, but that isn't necessarily her immediate purpose. Ayahuasca means to purge. So she's a cleaner. She's the Maha cleaner upper. And she will clean out whatever is in the way of you being able to receive her teaching, whatever that is for you. And then that might come in a vision. But there's this kind of unearthing, this cleaning out, this excavating, creating a foundation in you so that you can receive the teachings in a way that they can be integrated in your life for your greatest benefit and for the benefit of all of those around you. So there's preparation for this. And I remember one time on the airplane to Peru, there was a woman sitting next to me, and we ended up getting into a conversation. And she told me that she was going for her first ayahuasca retreat with a shaman in the jungle. And I asked her what she knew about this person. And she said she didn't know anything. She did a Google search and this came up. And I said, well, were you given any preparation, like a diet or anything to do? Or were you given a questionnaire to make sure that you weren't taking anything that was contraindicated? Because ayahuasca is made from the vine and from the leaf of chacruna. Now, the chacruna has DMT in it. And there are many things that can interfere with DMT. It's a very strong psychoactive medicine. And if your diet isn't clear, many things can go wrong. So she didn't have a diet. She didn't know anything about where she was going. So I never heard from her again. I have no idea what has happened. But I do know that there are some people that do not return from the jungle. I do know that there are women that get taken advantage of, men as well, financially and sexually and in other ways. You can get so opened up and feel so vulnerable and so sensitive that if your facilitator, your shaman, isn't behaving in a responsible way, in alignment with the tradition, then it can be a dangerous situation. Now, I've been quite lucky, and I know there are other people who have been as well. But like anything, we learn by trial and error. And believe me, I have learned a lot. But there is a diet that is required. Another thing that is required is to have a certain degree of stability in your system. And what brings that to us is a meditation practice, perhaps yoga, just a healthy lifestyle. And that can give us some kind of a ground so that when we receive the medicine, that we're not shaken. And sometimes you will be shaken regardless. So so this is what Ernesto, my teacher, was speaking about, that many people are not prepared. And then not only are many people not prepared, there are many people who are pouring medicine that are not prepared, that have very limited experience, very limited skill, and are not necessarily in sacred reciprocity with the land and with the tradition. So those were some of the points that I wanted to make. So let's get back to why I call her the dark mother of the jungle. Now, right now, what's happening all around us is any residual fears and insecurities that we have in our system are kind of surfacing, yeah? And what ayahuasca does is she goes deep down into the root chakra, which is our base of security and stability. So she operates a great deal in the belly so that we can be shown what it is in the way of core beliefs or past traumatic experience, woundings, fears that are still contained, still maybe suppressed in the system and are causing us to behave in certain ways, whether that be addictive behaviors, depression, feeling cut off from our life force, maybe even cut off from our bodies, and spending a lot of time in our heads. So she really works there. She'll actually reorganize how the brain is structured. She goes right into our nervous system and reorganizes the messages that are sent to the brain. And then these fears can be purged out. Now, purging happens in many different ways. Vomiting is the most common. There's also having it come out the other end. The body may shake. The body may become very cold, shivering, or very hot. There may be a great deal of crying because there may be this suppressed experience of loss, of great loss and grief in the system. So people can go through many ceremonies with a lot of tears. Another purging is yawning. I know many people with chronic fatigue syndrome who have been healed by working with ayahuasca because it, you may yawn quite a bit through the ceremonies, but it's emptying out fatigue and restoring and revitalizing the system. So what I'm speaking about here are the very early phases of ayahuasca, but she continues to deepen from there after a great deal, or however much is needed, of the purging is able to happen and letting go happens. And you come deeper into this rooted ground in the body where you feel this incredible connection to the earth, to the Mother Earth, and to all things. Now, for some of us, we need to meet the Dark Mother and have her walk us into those dark corners of our lives. Have her with her utmost compassion. She is such a kind and loving mother that will walk like your body is your house. It's your container. It's what you have lived in for all of these years. It carries everything with it. So she'll go around into every nook and cranny and together with you look and to see, are you ready to let this go? Are you ready for something new to bloom and blossom? Are you ready for the mind to clear and to have clear vision? Are you ready to step into your power, into the true calling of your life in a way where you can be of benefit to yourself and to everyone you meet? So that is why I call her the Dark Mother, and boy, do I love her. And then over time, you develop an intimacy with her. So essentially, when you come to ceremony, it's important. You absolutely have to have a safe container. The environment in which the ceremony is held is critically important, and to have a facilitator who is behaving responsibly. And that is what allows us to begin to feel cared for, to feel safe, and to begin to let go and listen. And then the relationship with ayahuasca, with her as your teacher, can develop. And then it's a little bit less about the shaman or the facilitator, because you're developing an intimate relationship with, in this case, ayahuasca, or whatever the plant might be that you're working with. But you really need to have that safe container, or believe me, a whole shit show can happen. And it's not funny. I don't really mean to make light of that. But, I've seen a lot go in the wrong direction. And I'll see if there's something else. There's so many topics, but what I want to tell you is subscribe to my channel. If you enjoy this video, be sure to like it and comment. And when you subscribe, if you click on notifications, you'll know when I'm going live. So it's my intention to offer a series of videos on different plant medicines. I'm starting out with ayahuasca, and all of this is coming out of a guide that I'm creating for the responsible use of plant medicine, and how to receive the greatest benefit, how to be safe, how to receive the teachings and the protections, and how to integrate this into your life so that you can live your greatest life purpose, especially right now in these uncertain times. So if you haven't had an ayahuasca ceremony yet, this guide will be a great manual for you to receive preparation. I know even right now you can't travel to Peru, so we're a little bit on lockdown. So this is a really good time to get your diet straight, have a strong meditation practice. I have a lot of videos with different guided meditations, and really be prepared, because it's just amazing what she can bring to you. There's so many things that I could tell you. Now is the time. I'm hearing this from so many people. Now is the time. And, it's an expense to go over into Peru. So you want to get the best benefit from that. And soon my website will be up with this free guide. And I would love for you to read that. And I would love for you to submit questions on different points of this that you want me to cover. I have a question here. What difference have you noticed working with male and female shamans? Oh, that's a good question. Well, first, let me just say, in the Quechua tradition, the ceremony is very different, where the Quechuas will sing their icaros, and just in brief, icaros are something that you receive when you do a dieta, which is an extended diet with a particular plant teacher. And that plant will often bring you its energy through song, and that, could be in any kind of language. So in the Quechua tradition, they often have more traditional Peruvian music or medicine music, and they sing to the group, and it's often facilitated by men. And for me, that wasn't quite as intimate, and the contact wasn't as direct, but it was quite good. I had a really good relationship with my male ayahuascadero at that time. And also I have great appreciation for him, because I was very inhibited about singing, and he really brought that out of me, shifted that. And he said, singing is healing. And eventually he got me to sing. So he was a really good ayahuascadero. So in that sense, I'd say that the male and female part didn't matter as much, but it's more about the person, like, how are they in relationship to the masculine and female energies operating in their bodies. Do they discount either one, or are they, really living from a wholeness? And are they really in contact with the plants? And I could feel the plants moving through this particular teacher. And then in the Shipibo, in the ceremonies, they're facilitated where the different shamans, the ayahuascaderos and ayahuascaderos, they come and they sit directly in front of you and bring you a healing through the ikaro, through the energy of the plants. And they'll sit, right directly in front of you and also give you a blessing and give you protection. So in that sense, sometimes it can feel that the contact is more direct, and it's very nice. And the women are, well, and the men, the men there too, like one of my closest, well, I have two very close teachers in the Shipibo tradition, a male and a female. And one is, they're both actually very powerful, and I would consider them surgeons, which means they're operating at a very high level, and they know how to traverse different dimensions. And this is something that they were teaching me, so that's why I say initially you're just purging and clearing, then you're receiving teachings, and then you're getting protections. And then you're getting all of the skill to traverse different dimensions, which is really necessary to have to be able to facilitate a healthy and beneficial ceremony. So I hope that answered your question, Nicole. And then there's another one. Why is it beneficial to have a meditation practice in conjunction with doing the plant medicine? Really great question. Because you want to be able to have a resource of stability in your body. You need to be able to, so when I say a meditation practice, I don't mean just a technique of, trying to get rid of thought or focusing your attention in any particular way. More of the meditation practice that I teach, which is embodied and takes you directly into the body, where you learn to listen with your entire being. So this opens up a capacity of receiving and listening and being in a very kind and compassionate relationship with yourself that is deeply anchored and rooted in the earth. So these plants are from the earth, yes? So they're nature bound. So our practice, our meditation needs to be in alignment with that so that we can really receive and listen. So the more open we are listening with the entirety of our being, then the visions that come are very meaningful. Visions that not only come during ceremony, that also come in your dreams, and also come anytime, perhaps when you're out in nature, where you may have visits from ancestors, or you may just feel yourself kind of in an altered state of consciousness, less ordinary, less, here, but not really here, in the body, but not of the body, more true, more real. So that's not even a state. That's an actuality. So that's why the meditation is important in this way. And also integration, afterwards, how you take care of yourself, your diet, what you decide to take back into your life, and what you're choosing to say no to. That's very important. And then being able to take some time. This is, in the beginning, I said there's many people that will have one or two ceremonies and then go broadcasting about this and kind of get into this Masonic role of, they was a wonderful thing. So they want to, save the world, but, they haven't done the work yet. And what can happen as soon as we start to prematurely jump ahead, we're giving away. We haven't even digested yet and assimilated what we've been given. And that's where our power is. So the medicines need to be in you for quite some time to percolate so you can digest and assimilate. These are strong medicines and they bring so much. Another question. In ceremony, is there a difference between allowing and being passive? Yes, there is. Yeah, and if you've been in my ceremonies, you know that I encourage people to sit up, but to be able to lie down if you can remain engaged. So there is a difference between like checking out, that's what we're looking for. Is the medicine bringing something really strong for us to look at? And is there some aspect of us that wants to move away from it, kind of check out, go to sleep? Now is not the time to go to sleep. Not in ceremony and not now. This is a real waking up time. So there is a difference, but it's also really possible, and this is how meditation can be so helpful, is to be able to remain in your seat and to be actively engaged in a way that's effortless. So you're kind of right at that edge of not efforting, like right in the middle of effort and fully relaxing back. So just a softness that is aware and conscious, but not trying hard to make something happen, but just is more settled and attentive. So that in that you can even feel that listening opens, a receiving. And really one of the most important things about ayahuasca, because she is such a profound teacher, is to trust her intelligence. She's incredibly wise. She knows where to go and she knows what to do. She's a master. And that's another way in which a good meditation practice can be very helpful, because it teaches you how to listen to the intelligence in your body, to lean into this deeper intelligence. Lean and listen. So they go hand in hand. Let's see if there's something else. Thank you for coming out. Such humbling time now. No choice but to show ourselves. I'd be honored to work with you. I'd be honored to have you, Sarah. Yeah, it's time to come out. It's been about 20 years and I have a book coming out. And really, if you have more things that I can dig into and tell you about that will be helpful to you on your journey, for your next ceremony, if you're interested in training in a way that's responsible, to become an apprentice with me or anything like that, I would love that because it helps me to flesh it out. I want to share a lot of my experiences. I want to share experiences of other people who have worked with me for years and how people have been helped with depression, with rape and sexual abuse, with all kinds of addictions, with really coming on course with their purpose, with resolving issues of the past, with coming into harmony and balance with the masculine and sexual energies, with coming into sacred reciprocity with the earth, which is something that isn't happening in all medicine circles. And we do not want to lose our Amazon jungle. So this is a real key point. And also I'll be talking about the difference between medicines that are made in a laboratory that are not nature-based and not in connection to the earth, and medicines that are alive, living, and what that brings. So, yeah, I mean, there is this psychedelic renaissance, but I really don't think of these plant medicines as psychedelics. It's not really their purpose. That might be part of what happens, but it's a very small part. There's so much to learn. Hello, Prajna. Is it possible and how to remember and reactivate insights from ceremony? Yes, that is a really good one. Well, one way is to join my meditations. And also, if you've been on one of my retreats, I will talk in more depth about that. But just one simple way is if you've been initiated on tobacco with me and learning how to do Singa properly. Singa is a very good way to activate insights and to take Singa before sitting in meditation. That can activate the energies and the remembering of what has happened in different ceremonies. And when you do come into a ceremony, journaling is really helpful for you to remember. Also drawing different pictures, so that you can have something to look back on and look back at that from time to time and have it activate those memories and that remembering. Time in nature, if you just go out and spend time in nature and with plants, that will support. And then how do you prepare Singa? So that's something I won't do on a video, but contact me privately and I'll help you out with that, because you have been with me enough on tobacco for you to do that. So I hope this is beneficial. I think that it's time to go. Yeah, thank you so much for joining in. And soon there will be a guide on my website. Right now we're redoing the guide or my website. I'm very excited about that. And I'm shifting gears in the videos that I'm presenting on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do like, comment, click notifications, and my channel will grow. And then, perhaps I'll become one of the voices on the internet that can speak in a responsible way and that can help us all to be in proper reciprocity with these wisdom keepers and take care of our jungles and take care of our earth and really respond to what's happening right now. And, for everyone, the staying home, that we really awaken home to Mother Earth and live from her. We don't consume her, but we live in with respect and with reciprocity. We all need this now, with deep care and compassion. Radical compassion is necessary right now. And Mama Sita brings this to us. There was one more thing. I just don't want to miss it. Oh, a lot of thank yous. Oh, thank you all so much. So much love. Yeah, so great. Take really good care of yourselves. I'll be back on Thursday. I'm going to try to be on Tuesday and Thursdays until I run out of things to talk about. But if you send me questions, that will keep me going. So thank you so much. You have a beautiful evening or day wherever you are. Namaste.